The Navy SEALs found a secret tunnel at the border. We're talking about something so shocking, so unexpected, that it's making even the toughest military forces rethink everything. This isn't just another border story. It's something far bigger, and the details are downright chilling. It all started as a routine mission quickly turned into a discovery that no one saw coming. And trust me, there's more to it. The discovery. A Navy SEAL congressman shared a terrifying discovery from the Mexican border. Congressman John Smith isn't your typical politician. Before stepping into the world of politics, he spent years as a Navy SEAL, tackling some of the most dangerous missions around the globe. His time in the military wasn't just about combat. It was about protecting his country, leading with courage, and making tough decisions under pressure. Now, as a congressman, he's carrying that same sense of duty into his work. But what he recently uncovered at the Mexican border has left him more concerned than ever. Smith didn't get into politics for prestige or power. After retiring from the military, he started paying closer attention to national security issues. And one problem kept standing out: the worsening crisis at the border. The reports of escalating violence, human trafficking, and drug smuggling weren't just news stories to him. They were red flags signaling a growing national threat. He knew something had to be done. Determined to make a real impact, Smith ran for Congress with a strong focus on national security. His experience in the military gave him a unique perspective on the complexities of border control, and he wasn't afraid to take action. Once elected, he wasted no time pushing for tougher security measures, more funding for Border Patrol, better surveillance technology, and stronger international efforts to combat organized crime. But he also knew he couldn't rely on reports and briefings alone. He needed to see the situation with his own eyes. That's what led him to the Mexican border. Unlike many politicians who discuss the crisis from behind a desk, Smith believed in gathering first-hand intelligence, just as he had in the military. He wanted to meet the people dealing with the situation every day, understand their struggles, and uncover the truth behind the growing threats. Stepping onto the dusty terrain of the border, Smith immediately realized the scale of the challenge. The border stretches for over 1,900 miles, cutting through deserts, mountains, and urban areas. Securing such a vast area was no easy task, and it was clear that the men and women on the ground were fighting an uphill battle. Accompanied by a team of Border Patrol agents, Smith began his tour. The agents shared their experiences: the relentless chase of smugglers, the high-speed pursuits across the desert, and the never-ending fight against cartels that constantly found new ways to bypass security measures. It was a constant game of cat and mouse, with the criminals always adapting and evolving. One of his first stops was a Border Patrol station, where agents monitored surveillance feeds, coordinated patrols, and processed detainees. The energy inside was intense. Agents moved quickly, constantly shifting between tasks. They were doing everything they could with the resources they had, but Smith could tell they were stretched thin. The sheer volume of illegal crossings, combined with sophisticated smuggling operations, made it nearly impossible to catch everything. Continuing his journey, Smith arrived at a section of the border wall that had recently been reinforced. The towering structure was impressive, but the agents quickly pointed out its limitations. Smugglers weren't easily deterred. They used ladders, cut through metal barriers, and even deployed drones to transport contraband across. It was a never-ending battle, and while the wall helped, it wasn't a foolproof solution. Beyond the tactical challenges, Smith was struck by the human side of the crisis. He met residents living near the border, people whose daily lives were shaped by the uncertainty and danger that came with being so close to the action. Many spoke about the fear of cartel violence creeping into their towns, of drug-related crime affecting their communities, and of feeling abandoned by lawmakers who didn't fully grasp the gravity of the situation. Smith also sat down with local law enforcement officers who dealt with the spillover effects of border-related crime. They explained how drug trafficking fueled gang violence, leading to an increase in homicides and other violent crimes in nearby cities. The problem wasn't just at the border, it was spreading into communities across the country, making it clear that this wasn't just a regional issue. As the sun set on his first day at the border, Smith processed everything he had seen. The challenges were overwhelming, but so was the dedication of the people fighting to keep the country safe. He knew this was just the beginning. There was still more to uncover. Over the next few days, his investigation took a darker turn. He learned more about the powerful criminal networks operating in the region, particularly the MS-13 gang. The gang's brutal tactics and growing influence made made them a dominant force in the smuggling industry. Local law enforcement officials shared chilling stories of MS-13's violent methods, brutal executions, extortion, and targeted attacks on those who dared to stand in their way. One officer described a recent attack where MS-13 members had executed a rival gang member in broad daylight, leaving a gruesome message behind. These weren't just criminals. They were ruthless enforcers of terror, using fear to maintain control. The local communities felt trapped, knowing that speaking out against them could mean deadly consequences. Determined to dig deeper, Smith met with community leaders who had been fighting against gang influence. They spoke about how MS-13 recruited young, vulnerable kids from schools, offering them a false sense of belonging while pulling them into a life of crime. The gang's operations were sophisticated, spanning from drug distribution to human trafficking, and their reach extended far beyond the border. As Smith's investigation continued, he discovered yet another disturbing element: smuggling tunnels. These underground passages, some stretching for miles, allowed cartels to move drugs, weapons, and people undetected. Walking through one of these tunnels, Smith couldn't believe how well engineered they were. The walls were reinforced, ventilation systems were in place, and some even had rail tracks for transporting goods faster. The sheer level of organization made it clear that these operations weren't run by small-time criminals. They were run by highly efficient, well-funded organizations. By the end of his trip, Smith had seen enough to confirm his worst fears. The crisis at the border wasn't just about illegal crossings. It was about organized crime, violence, and national security threats that reached far beyond the immediate region. This wasn't just a problem for border states. It was a problem for the entire country. Returning to Washington, Smith knew he had a mission ahead of him. The border crisis wasn't just something that could be debated in committee meetings. It required immediate, decisive action. He planned to use everything he had learned to push for: stronger security measures, better funding for Border Patrol agents, and more aggressive crackdowns on criminal organizations operating in the region. What Smith discovered at the border changed everything for him. It reinforced his belief that securing the border wasn't just about politics. It was about protecting American communities from the growing threats posed by gangs, smugglers, and cartels. And while the fight was far from over, he was more determined than ever to ensure that real change happened. In addition, a secret border tunnel was found by drones in a terrifying indicator of stealth supergangs sneaking into the U.S. It started as a routine patrol along the U.S.-Mexico border, just another day of scanning the landscape with high-tech drones. These drones, loaded with advanced imaging and ground-penetrating radar, were designed to spot anything out of the ordinary. As they hovered over a seemingly normal patch of Earth, their sensors flagged something strange, an unnatural disturbance beneath the surface. At first, it seemed like a glitch, but a closer look revealed the shocking truth. The drones had stumbled upon a tunnel entrance, expertly hidden from view. But this wasn't just some crude underground passage. It was a meticulously built structure, complete with reinforced walls and ventilation systems. It stretched for miles under the border, an engineering feat that left authorities in disbelief. News of the discovery spread fast, sparking immediate concern among border security agencies. A tunnel of this complexity wasn't built overnight, nor was it the work of small-time criminals. This level of sophistication pointed to powerful, well-funded criminal organizations. With no time to waste, law enforcement launched a full-scale investigation to uncover the tunnel's origins and its intended use. The breakthrough was made possible by drones equipped with cutting-edge technology. These flying surveillance machines don't just capture images, they see beyond the surface. Using infrared sensors and ground-penetrating radar, they can detect hidden structures by identifying temperature changes and mapping out underground spaces. It's a game-changer in border security, allowing authorities to find tunnels that would otherwise remain hidden. And this tunnel was unlike the rough, hand-dug ones of the past. It had concrete walls, electrical lighting, and a ventilation system to keep air flowing, big enough to move people, and large shipments of goods. It was clearly designed for high-volume smuggling. The level of investment in its construction meant that it had likely been used for some time and had likely generated massive profits for whoever was running it. For criminal organizations, tunnels like this are invaluable. They allow smugglers to move drugs, weapons, and even people across the border without being detected by conventional security measures. While border patrols focus on fences and checkpoints, these underground routes provide a direct and secretive path to the other side. The tunnel's discovery was a major win for law enforcement, but it also revealed just how advanced these criminal networks have become. This revelation shocked the government agencies, raising urgent questions about border security. If this tunnel had gone unnoticed for so long, how many more could exist? It became clear that traditional security measures weren't enough to stop these operations. Officials realized that their strategies needed a serious upgrade. To combat this growing threat, authorities are looking at new ways to enhance border security. Increasing drone surveillance is now a top priority, as these high-tech devices have proven their ability to detect underground tunnels. Using artificial intelligence and real-time data analysis, Border Patrol teams can now identify suspicious activity faster than ever. Collaboration between the U.S. and Mexico is also being strengthened. Criminal networks operate on both sides of the border, so tackling them requires a joint effort. By sharing intelligence and coordinating operations, both countries aim to shut down these tunnels before they can be used again. The fight against smuggling is no longer just about border security, it's about international cooperation. Beyond immediate security measures, there's also growing pressure to address the deeper issues fueling smuggling. Organized crime thrives where economic opportunities are limited, and some officials argue that reducing criminal activity requires tackling the root causes. While drones and patrols play a key role in enforcement, there's also a push to improve conditions in vulnerable communities to weaken the grip of these powerful gangs. With the tunnel now exposed, authorities wasted no time in taking action. Law enforcement teams moved in to secure the area, while forensic experts examined its construction. The debate over border security has been reignited, with no easy answers in sight. However, the Mexican authorities sealed the secret tunnel on the U.S. border, but there are other findings about the Mexican border aside from the secret smuggling tunnel. The border. The U.S.-Mexico border is more than just a political boundary. It's a place where extreme landscapes, unpredictable weather, and eerie legends collide. It's a region filled with both natural and supernatural dangers, making it one of the most mysterious and perilous frontiers in the world. One of the most terrifying natural forces that make this border even more dangerous is lightning. The desert may seem dry and lifeless most of the year, but during monsoon season, the skies erupt with violent storms, bringing blinding flashes and deafening thunder. In places like southern Arizona, this can turn the vast, open land into a deadly trap. Back in 2006, Border Patrol agent Bradford Rubinoff learned firsthand just how dangerous lightning can be. While responding to a car accident near the border, he and his partner were suddenly blasted off their feet by an enormous bolt from the sky. "When I hit the ground, I felt this burning pain rush through my body," he recalled. The two officers had been struck by lightning, something that isn't uncommon in this area during monsoon season. And it's not just Border Patrol agents at risk. In 2007, several more agents were struck near Nogales, Arizona, along with two Mexican nationals who had just crossed the border illegally near Sonoita. The storms don't discriminate. Anyone caught in the open is a target. In 2010, a 17-year-old named Fernan Cortez Aguilar from Hidalgo, Mexico, wasn't as lucky as Rubinoff. He was found lifeless after being hit by a lightning bolt during a violent storm, a grim reminder of how unforgiving the desert can be. Lightning strikes aren't just deadly in the U.S., they're a serious threat in Mexico too. According to the World Health Organization, Mexico has more lightning-related deaths than any other country, with an average of 223 fatalities per year. Between 2005 and 2011, an estimated 12,000 people were injured by lightning strikes, a number that paints a picture of just how dangerous these storms are. The combination of high mountain peaks, unpredictable weather, and vast open spaces creates the perfect conditions for disaster. Beyond the immediate danger to human life, lightning can also wreak havoc on border security. It can knock out communication systems, damage equipment, and leave patrol agents vulnerable in the field. The already difficult job of securing the border becomes even more complicated when nature decides to take control. For those trying to cross the border illegally, the risks are even greater. Many migrants travel under the cover of night, unaware of the approaching storms. With little to no shelter in the middle of the desert, they're left completely exposed when lightning starts striking all around them. But lightning isn't the only thing haunting the border. While nature poses its own deadly challenges, there are other forces, some say supernatural, that add to the eerie atmosphere of this isolated and often lawless land. The U.S.-Mexico border isn't just a place of political tension and perilous journeys. It's also home to some chilling ghost stories. From restless spirits of fallen patrol agents to shadowy figures seen wandering the desert, the region is filled with eerie encounters that have left many people questioning what really lurks in the darkness. One of the most famous ghost stories involves a Border Patrol agent named Luis Santiago. In 1995, while chasing a group of migrants near the lower Otay Reservoir, Santiago slipped and plummeted 37 meters to his death. He was known for his relentless pursuit of drug smugglers, and some believe his death wasn't an accident at all. His spirit is said to still haunt the rugged mountains, seeking justice for whatever really happened that night. Santiago's story isn't the only one. Veteran Border Patrol agent Rocky Elmore has documented several spine-chilling experiences in his book Out on Foot. He describes strange encounters in the Otay Mountains where shadows move on their own, disembodied voices whisper in the wind, and footsteps echo when no one is there. The area has long been the site of tragedy. In 1991, a plane crash near the border took the lives of 2 pilots and 8 members of Reba McEntire's band. Some believe the spirits of those who perished still linger, adding to the already mysterious energy surrounding the region. Many border agents have reported hearing voices speaking in foreign tongues, seeing figures darting through their headlights, and experiencing an overwhelming sense of being watched. The sound of dry mesquite branches snapping in the middle of the night only adds to the eerie feeling. While skeptics might brush these stories off as tired border agents letting their imaginations run wild, the sheer number of reports suggests that something unexplainable is happening in these remote areas. And it's not just patrol agents who have seen strange things. People in border towns tell stories of ghostly apparitions wandering through the streets. Some claim to have seen the figures of migrants, thin, dehydrated, and desperate, appearing out of nowhere, only to vanish moments later. Are these echoes of the past? Spirits of those who never made it to their destination? Whether these encounters are real or just legends passed down over time, one thing is certain: the border is a place filled with loss, struggle, and lingering energy. And nowhere is this more evident than on the infamous Devil's Highway. Known as El Camino del Diablo, or the Devil's Highway, this stretch of land is one of the deadliest migrant trails in North America. The name alone is enough to send chills down your spine, and for good reason. Thousands of people have perished trying to cross it. Located in southwestern Arizona, between Tucson and Yuma, this unforgiving stretch of desert is a brutal test of endurance. By day, the sun turns the sand into a scorching furnace, and by night, the temperature plummets to freezing levels. The extreme climate is just one of the many dangers lurking in this treacherous landscape. For those who attempt to cross, survival is a gamble. Over the past 5 years alone, more than 1,400 migrants have lost their lives on this path. But it's not just the weather that poses a threat. The desert is home to venomous rattlesnakes, deadly scorpions, and even the elusive Gila monster, one of the few venomous lizards in the world. Mountain lions and bobcats also prowl the area, adding yet another layer of danger. Even those who make it past the natural obstacles aren't necessarily safe. The town of Sonoita, just south of the border, is known as a dangerous final stop before crossing into the U.S. Smugglers, thieves, and desperate migrants all gather here, each trying to find a way north. The desert surrounding Sonoita is littered with abandoned belongings, torn backpacks, worn-out shoes, and even children's toys, silent reminders of those who never made it. The Devil's Highway has long been a path for those seeking a way into the U.S. without detection. As border security has tightened over the years, migrants have been forced to take riskier routes, and this one remains among the most dangerous. With its brutal climate, lurking predators, and history of tragedy, it's a place where survival isn't guaranteed. Whether it's deadly lightning, ghostly encounters, or the unforgiving landscape of the Devil's Highway, the U.S.-Mexico border is a place where danger and mystery go hand in hand. It's a land of extreme contrasts, where nature is just as ruthless as any human threat, and where the echoes of the past still seem to whisper through the desert winds. And with the discovery from the border, this has prompted immediate response from the U.S. officials, especially as President Donald J. Trump has made border security his priority. U.S. SEALs response. In a bold and unprecedented move, the Pentagon has announced the deployment of a Stryker brigade and an aviation battalion to the U.S.-Mexico border. This decision follows President Donald J. Trump's direct order to boost military support in securing the southern border. The Stryker brigade is known for its speed, versatility, and advanced armored vehicles, while the aviation battalion brings in critical air support. Together, these forces will enhance security efforts, raising both public curiosity and heated discussions across the nation. Many are eager to see how this military reinforcement will play out. But this deployment isn't just about sending more troops. It's a strategic move in the ongoing effort to strengthen border security. The decision comes at a time when the government is doubling down on immigration control, cracking down on illegal crossings, and tackling drug trafficking. The presence of highly trained military forces signals just how serious the administration is about tightening border security. At the heart of this deployment is the Stryker Brigade Combat Team, SBCT, a powerful unit within the U.S. Army. Each brigade consists of around 4,400 soldiers and is built for rapid deployment and combat flexibility. The Army maintains 9 Stryker brigades, 7 of which are active duty, while 2 belong to the National Guard. What makes the Stryker Brigade so effective is its namesake, the Stryker vehicle. This 8-wheeled armored powerhouse is designed to be lighter than a tank, but tougher than standard infantry vehicles. It's a perfect fit for operations that require speed, mobility, and firepower, all essential for patrolling the vast and varied terrain of the southern border. A key advantage of the Stryker vehicle is its ability to be airlifted by C-130 Hercules aircraft and deployed within 96 hours. This means that in case of an emergency, these forces can be on the ground fast, ready to respond to threats before they escalate. Given the unpredictable nature of border security, this quick reaction capability is a game changer. But boots on the ground are just one part of the equation. Air support is just as crucial. That's where the Aviation Battalion comes in. While the Stryker Brigade handles things on the ground, the General Support Aviation Battalion, GSAB, brings air power into the mix. This unit consists of about 650 troops and a fleet of helicopters designed for multiple roles, including surveillance, troop transport, and medical evacuations. Among the most important aircraft in the battalion are the UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters. These versatile choppers are used for command operations, troop movements, and emergency evacuations. They provide much-needed flexibility in challenging environments, ensuring that troops can move quickly across rough terrain. But when it comes to heavy lifting, nothing beats the CH-47 Chinook helicopters. These twin-rotor aircraft can carry large amounts of supplies, vehicles, and personnel, making them an essential asset for maintaining logistics and transport efficiency. Together, the Black Hawks and Chinooks form a powerful aerial support system that keeps the mission running smoothly. With ground and air forces working together, this deployment is shaping up to be one of the most significant military-backed border security efforts in recent history. But what led to this decision in the first place? Since taking office on January 20th, 2025, President Donald J. Trump has made border security a top priority. From the very start, he promised to seal the border and take stronger action against illegal immigration and drug trafficking. The deployment of military forces is just one part of his administration's larger strategy to tighten security along the U.S.-Mexico border. By bringing in highly trained troops, armored vehicles, and air support, the White House is making it clear that it's willing to use every tool available to keep the border secure. This move follows an earlier phase of military involvement that saw the deployment of 1,600 Marines and soldiers in late January. These forces joined 2,500 reservists who were already stationed at the border, further strengthening security operations. With more troops and advanced equipment now on the way, the administration is reinforcing its message. Border security is non-negotiable, and the military will play a key role in keeping it under control. At the helm of this military effort is the Pentagon, led by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. His department is responsible for ensuring that troops, vehicles, and aircraft are fully prepared for their mission. Hegseth has made it clear that this operation is fluid and adaptable. His stance is simple. Whatever is needed at the border will be provided. This means that the military will adjust its approach as the situation evolves, ensuring that security measures remain effective. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, is also playing a crucial role, working closely with the military to coordinate operations. Their combined efforts are aimed at achieving one major goal: keeping the border secure while upholding the sovereignty and integrity of the United States. The deployment of the Stryker Brigade and Aviation Battalion marks a major step in the government's approach to border control. This isn't just a temporary fix. It's part of a long-term strategy to enforce stricter security measures. With advanced military units now in place, officials believe this move will help curb illegal crossings, disrupt trafficking networks, and strengthen overall law enforcement efforts along the border. However, the effectiveness of this strategy remains to be seen. While some view it as a necessary step to protect national security, others Others argue that military involvement in border control raises concerns about long-term policy implications. Regardless of the debates, one thing is certain: the presence of highly trained military forces at the border is a bold move that will shape U.S. immigration policy for years to come. As the deployment unfolds, all eyes will be on the southern border, waiting to see just how much of an impact this military reinforcement will have. One thing is for sure: this operation is a major moment in America's ongoing fight for border security. If you enjoyed watching this video and would love to keep exploring more exciting videos like this, then go ahead and click on any of the cards on your screen.